folks, and welcome to Garbage Theater Presents Shut Up, a Star Wars special, Part 2, Episode 2, whatever. We should have done episodes. Oh well. I'm your host Chase with my co-host John. Blake is still on sabbatical. But off the top, before we even get started, Blake did have something to say about our last episode, which he texted us in this short novelization.
Yeah, he had a little something to add.
And a little bit. So let's just knock this out.
Okay.
So he texts us and he says, "First of all, I'm excited to listen to Garbage Theater as a fan. Y'all are doing a great job. Now, for the meat of this compliment sandwich, you two are fucking idiots."
No.
While I can agree with some of your cinematic critiques, you are wrong about everything philosophically. There were times I yelled at my radio, even sang the rant music to myself just to get worked up. He goes on, he listened to the rest of the episode. That was just his knee-jerk reaction. He listened to the rest of the episode, and here comes the rest of it. So he says, "While I'm on board with most of your shut up moments, I would like to submit for the record some bullet points about the shut up episode. Feel free to add to the previous text." That's what we're doing. He loved the prequels. I love the prequels. It's my passion of the Christ. It tells the greatest story of one of the most badass Force users. I shed a tear every time the flames consume Anakin. Such a sad end for a man who only wanted to love a woman and have a family, but the council would never allow it. Okay.
Yeah.
He's not a good person.
No.
For the love of God, he strangled his pregnant wife unconscious.
Yeah, murdered a bunch of children also. Let's not forget.
This is a great man that we should all look up to.
Oh, I'm so sad about him.
This child murderer. Oh.
It's like, yes, the story of Anakin's tragic.
But they told him he couldn't get married, so child murder is completely warranted.
Yeah, right. This is the thing. It's not just that he wants to have a family. He also wants the council to give him the title of master because he's an entitled prick.
Yeah, which he does not deserve.
He knows the fucking rules. Like, you have to pick one. It's like if he was in seminary learning to be a priest, but he had like a piece of ace on the side and was like... And was still like, "Shut up and make me a priest." And the school was like, "Nah." And then he goes and becomes a Satanist and murders a bunch of children over it. Like, fuck him.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. He continues, "Yoda jumping around only shows how in tune with the Force he is. He is one of the best swordsmen in the Jedi Order, but he is only that talented because he augments his movements with the Force. Sidious, being one of the best Sith swordsmen, knows this, hence him not engaging in a straight duel and resorting to telekinesis, which he is top tier among the Force users. So their goofy fight makes sense to me. He had no problem dueling Windu as he knew his saber skills were superior. It still looks stupid."
Yeah, I'm not super clear on this one, but I mean it's a fine explanation of like why Yoda fights this way. I still just don't care to see it.
Yeah. And nobody really wanted to see it.
Yeah.
I don't think. Unfortunately, he continues, "Unfortunately, I think Rey's butterfly saber is going to be a Force vision like when Luke saw his face in Vader's helmet. Mark that down as a time when a Force vision to Luke was wrong. He did not become like his father."
Okay. I don't think Luke's vision in the cave was a prediction of the future, that he would become like Vader.
It was showing him that Vader was his father before he knew that.
It could be a lot of things. I don't think it was showing him the future. It was either like a manifestation of his fears or a warning, or telling him that something that he might feel but doesn't know.
Darth Vader is you. That's your blood.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes on, he says, "At one point I heard John ask, 'Do all Jedi need lightsabers?' This scruffy looking motherfucker."
Yeah, let me clarify. Like, I know about Jedi. The only line in the original trilogy that suggests that all Jedi need a lightsaber is when the Emperor, upon seeing Luke's new lightsaber, saying, "Your training is complete."
Yeah.
That's it. And when we meet Yoda in Jedha in Empire, before that line is ever uttered, I have no reason to think that it's essential to being a Jedi that you have a lightsaber.
Yeah.
And even if it is a necessary piece of Jedi training, there's no reason that you have to use it all the time in your capacity as a Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, cavalrymen had swords back in the day. They didn't always use them.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, there's got to be some kind of fucked up alien in the Star Wars universe that isn't humanoid. Like, doesn't have hands or some shit, but has the capacity to use the Force and not a lightsaber. Like, what about them?
Yeah. Well, Force ain't for everybody. So
only you gotta have opposable thumbs for the Force.
Yeah. Okay, so he continues on. And this is where he starts this starts to deteriorate into, like, he says, Luke is a bitch who was never trained properly and went on his way thinking that he was a fucking god. Luke ain't shit, and he gets insecure about anyone showing promise. This is why he tried to kill his nephew in his sleep, because he had a nightmare. It doesn't make sense, John. Everything is wrong with this. And Chase, maybe him sparking the saber was the tilting point, and the Force was trying to show him what would happen if he tried to murder an innocent child. Look at this motherfucker talking about killing innocent children.
Seriously.
Good Lord. This whole thing's written like a Russian Facebook post.
And like, when I said it makes sense for the character of Luke, I mean, in the movie, like, I don't understand what his problem with what I said is, because he seems to kind of agree with me in a way that in his interpretation of who Luke is, this is what he's doing.
Yeah.
That's all I meant. But he's also making, like, huge assumptions about Luke's motivations.
Yeah.
That I don't think he can really justify. And then he didn't even try to kill Ben. There was no attempt. He just, thought about it briefly.
Well, unless you go with Ben's telling of it, where Luke is like this dark-eyed evil monster, which is clearly skewed. And they show that. They show that neither Ben's recollection or Luke's recollection was right. The third one that you see was the correct one. So, yeah, try to murder an innocent child. Not very Jedi-like of Luke. If only we had another reference to when Luke got a vision wrong.
Yeah, again, I think his basis for that is faulty.
He continues, Rey is a great saber wielder because she is fueled by rejection, loneliness, and anger. The next episode may prove that statement wrong. Most great saber practitioners are fueled by the dark side. Anakin, Sidious, Windu, Maul, Dooku, Kylo. The Force is not for everybody. Sure, it may be within everyone, but its full potential is not. Sorry, unwashed child on Kanto.
I mean, he may have some kind of justification for this, but I'm not really going to argue on this one. That's fine.
Chase's Akbar send-off would be infinitely better. The one part of this whole spiel that I agree with.
Okay, sure.
He continues, I'm not an Empire sympathizer. I'm a Sith sympathizer. The Sith were on the right side of history. They didn't have any rules when it came to the Force. If you could do something cool with the Force, do it. What's wrong with lightning? Keeping people from dying? Manipulating the government to make it bend to your will? Nothing. Spoken like a true libertarian.
And I'm glad he clarified that he was on the side of the Sith and not the Empire, but
the Sith are on the side of the Empire.
They're on the side of the Empire.
It's
a distinction without a difference. Okay. And then I'm not sure lightning is only for Sith. Yoda seems to be able to control lightning in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Kyle Katarn in Jedi Outcast could use lightning.
Yeah. It's because it's an offensive use of the Force as opposed to defensive. So they don't lean on that crutch of easy mode like the Sith do. He continues, Rey looks like she is flailing around while saber training because she's learning from a guy that has 2 weeks training from a real Jedi who trained for many human lifetimes.
Okay. Sure.
Hey, Yoda never trained Luke to use a lightsaber.
That's true.
Ever.
Nobody did.
Luke self-taught with the lightsaber completely.
I mean, maybe Obi-Wan gave him a lesson or two off screen, but
maybe. Yeah,
I don't know.
And if it was so goddamn important, wouldn't the greatest swordsman Jedi ever like put some emphasis on that instead of just moving rocks around?
Yeah, he seemed to be more concerned with Luke understanding the Force.
Yeah,
how to tap into it.
He finishes with Luke does the equivalent of the old hold up a sheet, run away when you want, and drop it to freak out your dog. He's referring to Luke's trick at the end of Last Jedi. What a visionary badass. By visionary badass, I mean coward. He was planning to die anyway, but decided not to take the warrior's way out. Pansy-ass Jedi.
Okay, so he's a monster when he briefly considers killing Ben earlier. But now he's a coward for not going in there and killing his ass, like, right away.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bit of a cognitive dissonance there.
And he didn't want to kill him.
Right.
He didn't want to kill him. He just wanted to help his friends, his family, who he cared about, escape.
Right. And I'm not even fully convinced he had a way off the planet he was on. I mean, I don't know how long his X-Wing had been underwater.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't operable. I mean...
if he truly had no plans of leaving, why would he leave it there?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not going anywhere. He never was going anywhere. Well, now that we got the propaganda out of the way,
I'm glad he got a voice on the podcast. But
I'm sure we're gonna get an earful after this one too. Probably having nothing to do with Rogue One or Solo, just in retaliation to that. Want to make the announcement. We have decided that we are going to do a part 3 of this once all 3 of us have seen Rise of Skywalker. And Blake's going to be in on that one. So that episode should be about 4 hours long.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute fucking shit show. That's going to be a
bastard. So that's going to be like our quasi Christmas holiday special since it comes out around that time. So stay tuned for that. But for now, we're going to tackle the 2 Star Wars side stories, Rogue One and Solo.
Yeah. Real quick, I just want to address a couple of things from our last episode. I want to clarify that we shit on nerds a lot in that last episode, and I want the nerds to know that we don't hate them. I love nerds. I'm a nerd, as evidenced by our last 2-hour discussion on the minutia of Star Wars movies.
Just to say, folks, John and I originally planned for these to be an hour long. We went on for 2 hours.
Also, I was kind of second guessing myself. I was like listening back to the episode, and I was second guessing about whether some of the things I mentioned were actual like points of criticism that people had brought up against The Last Jedi. And I don't want to straw man any like real, like good faith issues people have with the movie, because I know people are passionate about the franchise. But just yesterday, I was looking at a Twitter thread about Star Wars, and here are some real tweets that I saw. I disliked Last Jedi, especially that scene where Luke milked that alien. The scene was vulgar, and killing Snoke was stupid.
Those two things are on par with each other.
About the milk. He disliked Last Jedi, and in his only tweet about it, he brings up the milk thing.
The milk.
I mean, that's your biggest problem with the movie is the milk. Another one was, I personally feel like Ryan may have let politics get in the way of a good story. Again, what politics?
Yeah.
It's like war profiteering. There's like one line about war profiteering. and that's it. And then the last one is, since when have they needed petrol?
Since always?
They don't like fuel. It's madness.
What were they flying around with before? The Force?
I have no idea.
That one I'll never understand. Hyperfuel is a thing. It's been a thing since the old expanded universe. I don't get that one.
Yeah, there's nothing.
It's
Anyway.
like there's a bunch of Johnny come lately nerds chiming in that haven't been with this thing since the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
of course hyperfuel's a thing.
Yeah. And it's a thing. It's a big factor in Solo. The whole movie's about fuel. But nobody brought it up in Solo. That wasn't a criticism of that movie.
No. The main criticism of that movie is that it was shot 90% in pitch black.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Just a dark room.
Yeah.
A foggy dark room.
You have any more?
That's all I got. So, yeah, I'm all set for Rogue One now.
Okay. So we're going to jump into Rogue One, which came out a while ago. Like right after Force Awakens?
It was like a year after, right?
Yeah,
It was the following December, I think.
I hadn't watched it in a while, so I watched it again last night. Broad strokes. This one, I mean, this was another one. It was a fun one that, I mean, it's a story that didn't really need to be told, but it didn't do any harm telling it. In the long run, I don't think us knowing that the weakness in the Death Star was intentional cheapens it in any way, that it just being a weakness that they didn't think of.
No, I like that. It does kind of reek of a movie that only exists to kind of fill that hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that it was he put that in there intentionally. I dig on that.
Yeah. So, and that's at the top of my pros. Mads Mikkelsen. How can you not like Mads Mikkelsen?
Ah, dude, the whole cast. The whole cast. Ben Mendelsohn is awesome. Donnie Yen, Alan Tudyk, Riz Ahmed. I like all these guys.
And kudos for putting Donnie Yen in a Star Wars movie and not making him a Jedi. The restraint it must have shown.
They made it. He's Jedi adjacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have been really easy to make him just be like, this holdover Jedi that slipped through the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't have his lightsaber anymore or anything, but no, good.
I think he said something about how he wasn't really interested. And then I forget, the idea of him being blind came up and he got excited about it. I can't remember. Yeah. But now there's so we have a Star Wars Zatoichi and a Star Wars Lone Wolf and Cub. So that's pretty exciting.
Pretty good. And okay, so should we just start going down our pros and cons lists?
Sure.
Throwing them out?
Yeah.
Pros, Mads Mikkelsen. Fantastic. Cons, and this is going to be thrown around a lot in this movie, I'm sure. The resurrection of a dead character in Grand Moff Tarkin with Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you do this?
I think you have to use tact. Yeah. I think they really tried their hardest and almost pulled it off. Yeah. Almost. In the
scenes where he doesn't talk, where he just kind of glares, it's fine.
It's practically, on a still frame, it's practically photorealistic.
Yeah. It's just
the animation is the problem.
When you try to do this and they talk, the mouth's never right. The eyes are never right.
Yeah.
And they did it in Sith, but he just kind of walked into frame and that was it. They kind of had to have him do a little more here. But doing this as opposed to just recasting the character.
Yeah. I think they were if they would have just written his part a little bit smaller, it would have worked fine. Yeah. It's like when they first introduce him in the movie, it's from behind, and then he walks over to a window, and you can see his face in the reflection, and that worked great. I got it.
Yeah, if they just held to that and not really,
And maybe a couple of, little shots of, the side of his head from like a rear 3/4 or something. But yeah, just really going for it on the whole like fake face thing.
But and even and I would have dealt with it more if it even was just that one scene. But he just kept coming back.
Yeah.
So and they had the Grand Moff Tarkin like sub character basically.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, kudos for trying, but maybe bit off a little more than you can chew.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was pretty groundbreaking what they were able to accomplish. It just wasn't good enough.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's ever going to be there.
Yeah.
Really.
There's been some face replacements that have been really spectacular, but usually it's because they don't talk.
Yeah.
like Rachel in Blade Runner 2049, she doesn't say anything and it looks great.
Mm-hmm.
There's like some stuff in Logan, like what's the bad Logan in Logan? His head is like a facial replacement.
Yeah.
In some scenes, and it's like flawless.
It looks good. Yeah. I need to see Logan again. I've only watched it once.
Oh, dude, it's near perfect.
Yeah. But we're not talking about Logan.
We're not talking about Logan.
Okay, your turn. Pro and a con.
Let's see. I don't have a lot of pros, to be honest. I'll say this, and I'm not going to go like too detailed about it because I know I spent a lot of time in the last episode just talking about how much I liked the way things looked. But I like the designs of just about everything in the movie. I love going back to the original trilogy aesthetic.
Yeah.
I love K2SO.
Yes.
The new Stormtrooper classes,
mm-hmm.
like the Death Troopers and the Beach Troopers. I love those.
Yeah.
And the cinematography I loved. Like, I think this is probably my favorite looking Star Wars movie.
Yeah. I really like the set pieces that they did, the landscapes that they picked for these planets.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's great, and the naturalistic lighting.
Yeah,
and you can tell that it was filmed with a more sort of indie sensibility. There's fewer, like big camera moves, like flashy camera things, and it really sort of brought it down to a more like realistic, feeling. Which I loved.
The opening planet was very the landscape was very Death Stranding, which I'm ensconced in right now, which I enjoyed.
Yeah. Do you know where that was filmed?
I do not. Probably should have looked that up, but
it looked like Iceland to me.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Iceland once, and there's like black sand. There's areas where there's black sand, and it looked like it might have been Iceland, but I don't know.
Possible.
I
liked that they set up Cassian with him killing a guy on his side.
Yeah, they set up him being
just showing that he's
morally gray.
That the rebellion isn't all just glitz and glamour. That they have an underside too. They gotta do what they gotta do.
For sure. I think, I don't know if this is a problem for me. I guess I'd put this in the neutral category, but I think a lot of people rank this as among their favorite Star Wars movies. Like, they certainly like it better than any of the sequels.
Yeah.
And it strikes me that like it's a more grim, like darker story, and that's what they think Star Wars is for some reason. Like this is what they always thought Star Wars was, and it just wasn't. And I don't know how they got this idea in their head that like Star Wars should be gritty and dark, and I don't know.
I mean, maybe Empire.
I get a little bit, but
certainly not Jedi. There's way too many puppets in Jedi to be. And I wouldn't say New Hope either.
No,
that's the big sweeping like good like adventure. Like I don't get dark. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, and it's fine to have like a different movie in the series that's got a tone that's a little bit different, and that's fine. But I think like the idea that it's the dark Star Wars and
no, Solo's the dark Star Wars. I'm going to beat that horse until it's pulp.
It's a big problem.
Yeah. So other things I've got, along with the on the design side of things, I really like Donnie Yen's longbow.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
That was a cool gun. Why does it have to be? Cool. Why does it have to be a bow? I don't know. Why does Chewie have a bow? I don't know. There's a crossbow. It stands to reason that there's going to be a longbow. So there it is.
I'm sure there's some reason in some visual dictionary somewhere.
Getting to see Vader's castle.
That's kind of silly to me. He lives in fucking like the final boss stage. It's kind of silly.
He's always lived in a castle on a lava planet.
Yeah, I guess so.
And is that Mustafar?
I think so.
Okay, I wasn't positive if he lives on the planet of his born again into Sith.
Right. I mean, it's the only other planet. It's the planet we've seen that's like a lava planet. So
well, according to Star Wars, that doesn't mean a goddamn. Because there's a million Tatooines out there, apparently.
Oh, yeah. All the Outer Rim planets look the same.
Here's one that I'm not sure of, was Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just like, why?
I'm on the fence of Forrest Whitaker's take on him.
How do you? What do you mean? Like, do you know the character? I mean, I know the character was in some other show.
It was. I didn't. He was in. Was it?
It was either Rebels or Clone Wars.
It was either Rebels or Clone Wars. He's in it, and I have no reference from that. It's just, I just didn't. I don't know. He didn't seem to fit to me.
Yeah.
For some weird reason, it just, I don't know if I didn't just like the way he made him, like his tics about his, like, he's constantly out of breath, which I know was his thing, which is why they gave him the little breathing apparatus that made him sound like Darth Vader, showing that that's like not unique to Vader. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just didn't. It was weird. I don't have a strong defense of it. It's just I didn't really like him much.
Well, I sort of have a problem with kind of I have big problems with the movie, like on a the way like the team comes together and stuff. It's also kind of disjointed, and they don't have any chemistry. Mm-hmm. They don't have any kind of rapport. I don't feel like I know hardly any of them as characters.
Yeah, Mace and what's his name that Donnie Yen plays, they just kind of like go with them.
Yeah,
for no real reason.
Can we come along? It's like, sure. You know, I just would have liked I would have liked the relationships to be fleshed out, the characters to be fleshed out. And I think a better way to do this movie would be to like start with them being a crew. You know, there's some kind of outlaw crew or something. And then, you know, you can build the characters off the way they interact with each other.
That they get roped into this mission, maybe by like maybe not have Cassian be part of the group, but have like the rest of them be a group.
Yeah. And
then Cassian pulls them in to do this job.
And then things could play out almost exactly as they do. Just like we'd know the characters more. And, you know, when we get to the end of the movie and they all die, I might actually care.
Yeah, I didn't really give a damn when Bodhi died.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's like a waste. He's clearly got some kind of relationship with Galen.
Yeah.
And they never like speak to each other on screen. We don't get any information about the nature of this relationship. Like,
just
was it a mentor,
that one
mentee
brief
thing?
speech of him saying that, Galen said that I can make this all right if I do this. That's all you get.
That's not enough. That's really, like, of all the problems with the movie, that's my biggest problem, is that the characters are really thinly drawn, and they spend way more time on plot stuff that I feel like could have been cut out. Like, the movie's over 2 hours long, and I don't know, a lot of it's them just, like, flying around, there's a bunch of fighting, and no characters.
Yeah, I can see that. What? Okay, there's two things here that I really like Donnie Yen's character. Mm-hmm. I like his little thing there at the end where he just kind of walks out and lets the Force do its thing so he can get to the little switchy switch. On that same note, I'm tired of the Stormtrooper aim shtick. There's so many points in this where it's just like, yeah, Stormtroopers can't hit shit, and it happened. I'm over it. They wouldn't be where they are in the galaxy if they were this terrible.
Yeah, and he was facing down the Death Troopers too, I think.
Yeah,
which were supposed to be the elite.
Yeah. Now, I get that moment was supposed to be, that reason that, he's putting his faith in the Force and all. But I'm bored. I'm bored with Stormtroopers not doing anything, ever.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
I enjoyed that they got to utilize some old footage to connect it a little bit. The footage of Gold Leader and Red Leader, that's from A New Hope.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, they took unused footage from the Death Star fight, and they cleaned them up, and they stuck them in there so that those two who would still be around during this are part of the squad.
Right. Oh, that's a cool detail.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I like that. That was cool. There was no they used again just use goddamn I don't need to see a different calamari.
Oh, just get Akbar in there.
Just get Akbar. He's there. He's there.
Yeah.
This disrespect to Akbar. I don't get it.
Chase, it's like there's a whole army. There's a bunch of admirals. It's not the only admiral. He can't be around for
too many admirals.
Every encounter, every engagement.
Whatever. Oh, correction. We do have to make a correction that I was claiming that the voice actor for Akbar died, and that's why he wasn't in the Jedi. Mm-hmm. We know that's not true. He made it through, and there was a really embarrassing and horrible thing they did to him at the end of filming.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell that story, John, that you found online?
Oh, yeah, it was on IMDb. He said that at the end of when they were wrapping on his footage, they called him over and I can't even remember now.
They said that like he thought it was the end for his character, that he played through all these movies, and he thought that they were going to call him over and they would they would make like a little like speech about this is a wrap on him playing Akbar and all, and that would be this little moment that he could have with closure for this character. But all they actually did was they brought him over and they wanted him to do the final slate and saying to the camera, "It's a wrap." And that was his culmination of his whole career as this character.
Because they thought it would be funny.
Because it's a meme.
Yeah. That's a shame.
And then he died, like, the next day or something.
Oh, God. He did die, though.
He died, like, really soon after that.
Oh.
So, that sucks.
It was heartbreak what killed him. Oh,
It's terrible. It's terrible.
that sucks.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. You start talking. Akbar comes up and I get all riled. I didn't. Something else I didn't like. I didn't like the Borgullet.
The who?
The Borgullet, the Lovecraft monster that Saul has.
Yeah. Yeah, his weird mind-reading alien.
Yeah. And I get that not all aliens are going to be humanoid things, but I didn't like it.
It didn't really it didn't serve any kind of purpose at all.
Well, it was supposed to read Bodhi's mind and know if he's telling the truth or not, but the side effect is that it makes you go crazy. And it didn't really make him go crazy, it just kind of gave him PTSD.
Yeah. But it didn't seem like Saw believed him even after he went through the ordeal. You know, he was still in a cell. Yeah,
and he still had to see the footage before he actually believed anything.
Yeah, so what's the fucking point?
I don't know. They have a big goopy monster. I didn't like the Spaceballs door.
Which one's the Spaceballs door?
The big hole in the planet that they go through.
What?
They had the big shield over the whole planet with one little door that they go through.
Oh, right. The
fucking Spaceballs
to suck the air.
door.
To suck the air, yes. Okay.
They took something straight out of a movie making fun of them, and they put it in a serious movie. How are you going to have a big shell over a whole planet?
Yeah. I didn't understand how Bodhi was able to make calls up to the fleet, but they couldn't transmit the plans through...
The files were too big.
That doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just going to take longer to download.
That's my major problem with the movie is these goddamn files that are just way too... Megabytes must be in the billions to send this thing up into space.
But it can't get through this, like, force field for some reason.
Nope.
But other kinds of transmissions can. I don't know.
Mega Maid's in the way.
You've got to destroy Mega Maid.
Yeah, not a fan of the Spaceballs door. Also, how did 3PO and R2 get from Yavin to that ship?
Dude, I don't know.
They show them on Yavin.
Yeah.
When they're going to bomb the rain planet where when they're going to Scarif, they're all leaving and then they're standing there like, oh, they're all going to Scarif now. Like, I guess they hopped on a ship that just happened to have Leia. And why was Leia even there during this high risk attack?
I don't know. There's a lot of questions.
That brings me to another con. Was Leia's presence at all? I know we had to connect it, but we did that when Jimmy Smits showed up and did his little line about I'm gonna trust it to Leia. That's all we needed. I didn't need to see Leia.
No, they didn't have to. They didn't have to run the end of this movie right up to the beginning of New Hope. Like they could have gotten the plans and then ended the movie. Yeah. And I think it would have been better for it, because everything that happens after, like, they shoot the Death Star, blows up Scarif is dumb, in my opinion.
And Scarif's still around. They say it in Solo.
Oh, yeah, they just blew up that
site.
That station or whatever, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. They're being real loosey-goosey with all these Death Star shots.
Apparently they can control the force of the shot, I guess. But yeah, the one of the big problems I had with this movie was the fan servicey stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, they have one shot of C-3PO and R2-D2 for literally no reason. There's
a shot of Pig Nose and Walrus Man.
Yeah, on the fucking wrong planet. Yeah. Like, again, if we're going to run it up right to the beginning of New Hope, how are they getting from here, from Jeddah, which they should have died on by all accounts.
That's true. They must have just hopped on a ship.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I didn't need to see those guys. I wasn't like, I wonder what those guys were up to before Luke encountered them in the cantina. Like,
also rudely bumping into people. That's their whole thing.
Maybe their species are somehow like symbiotic, you know, and those are just two different guys.
Yeah, that's just a male and a female of their species. All the females wear that orange vest jacket.
Yeah, you don't know. Aliens are weird.
Oh my god. Now, on all of that, fan servicey or not, the Vader hallway fight.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was there.
Okay, so my thing about the Vader scene is that, like, divorced from any context, it's a cool scene and something that we haven't gotten to see before in, like, a canon movie, you know?
Yeah.
But in context, it is just fan service. It really feels like it. It just reeks of, like, oh man, wouldn't it be badass and, like, edgy if Vader wasted a bunch of guys? Like, and then I have a problem with, like, this Darth Vader being almost a completely different character from the Darth Vader in A New Hope. So, like, the one that boards the rebel ship in the beginning of A New Hope, it's like if you watch these two movies back to back, you go from seeing him being like an absolute maniac, just killing everybody, to just being like, all right, which one of you guys has my plans?
Well, he's tired.
He's all tuckered out.
He just killed a bunch of dudes. You don't know how many other ships he went through playing that relay race, trying to get that disc between Rogue One and Hope.
That's true. I don't know.
He's just done. Okay, just send the stormtroopers in. I'm tired.
I gotta go kick my robot legs up for a little while.
But yeah, we never get to see Vader just being a badass.
No, we don't.
So that was nice.
And like, it's fun, and like I said, in sort of a fan film kind of way, it's cool to see. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just have problems with how it is in the movie. It just feels weird. It feels weird. And there's something about the Vader that, you know, that Krennic's talking to on you know, in his castle. It just doesn't feel like Vader, you know. It feels like a fake. It's like an imitation.
Well,
I don't know. I can't put my finger on what it is, but I know what it is. But
you know, I don't know how much. I mean, you can hear the age in James Earl Jones's voice now.
Yeah.
Whenever he reprises Vader, it's not the same booming Thulsa Doom voice.
He's old as shit now.
Yeah. What do you gotta do though?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, like, I'm not mad about it, but
yeah,
it's just one of those things that
that's what I mean. For all its flaws, it didn't hurt anything, really.
No, it didn't.
And you don't need. I mean, it's not crucial to the story. You don't need to watch it. It's an optional side mission.
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, I'm always gonna wish that it played more like a heist movie than a war movie.
Mm.
Because again, like, we've seen this war stuff before. Like, I've seen space battles. I've seen all this, you know, but I haven't seen, at least to this point, I hadn't seen like a heist in a Star Wars movie.
Well, they're saving the heist movie for Solo, and they don't want you to see that either.
Oh, we're coming for you, Ron Howard.
Okay. We're closing in on an hour. Can we put a pin in Rogue One? Are we done with Rogue One?
Yeah, I think...
Oh, do you have anything? Any closing
about
statements? I hit everything on my list.
Let me see. I got a couple last things. Like, I like that this has the most diverse cast of any Star Wars film.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear any complaints about, like, a social justice agenda or anything. So I don't know what happened there. Jin's mom is just straight up irresponsible. You got a child to take care of, lady. You can't be all like, well, at least if I die, Forrest Whitaker can raise my kid. She had no plan. Just leaves her kid to the wolves.
Yeah.
Madness. Did we know before this that the Death Star was powered by kyber crystals?
I don't know. I'm not sure if in old expanded universe it was powered by kyber crystals or not, and if they carried that over. Yeah, that was something when I was watching it. When I was watching it, I was questioning, did it need to be kyber crystals? Something else that's so important in the lore.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess they would know. With the Emperor running things, he would know, about kyber crystals and their usefulness.
Yeah.
So
what if I had a giant lightsaber? In the
That's
sky?
basically all it is. It's just turning on a giant lightsaber. So, yeah. But I guess I was fine with it.
Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm not mad about it.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with Rogue One.
I probably won't watch it that much. Like, I was watching it this time, and I found myself a little bit bored at times because I'm just not super invested in the characters.
Yeah.
But I think there was a version of this movie that could have been maybe like a half hour shorter, and it could have been just like a great little movie.
Yeah.
But whatever.
It was their first side story. They had to swing for the fences with it.
Yeah.
And I think they just crammed in too much.
Agreed.
Yeah. Moving on.
Boom. Rogue One.
Roasted. Now to the main course, I'm assuming. Solo, a Star Wars story, or whatever the subtitle was.
I think that's right.
Because Solo was just too damn short. Watch this when it hit Netflix for the first time, whenever that was, months ago, and really had trouble paying attention to it. Watched it again this morning, and really had trouble paying attention to it.
Again, that would be easier to pay attention to if you could see anything. But.
Yeah. I don't know why everything is in pitch black, except for a handful of... And if it's not in pitch black, it's in a dust storm or a mud pit. Something that's going to keep you from seeing goddamn anything.
It's a really weird choice. I don't understand what cinematographer would make this choice to just not light anything.
Yeah.
That's your whole job. Light the movie.
I'm going to light it with one bulb. Be the first to do it. I'll go down in history. This movie, unlike my feelings on Rogue One, did do damage to at least Han Solo's character by filling in these holes that were better left empty to make him Han Solo. And also, everything that we know about Han Solo apparently happened in a week.
That's the worst part for me about the movie, is just cramming like anything that he had a sentence, like one line about. Yeah. We're going to expand on it here. And it's so unnecessary in some parts.
I mean, yeah, we all know that he was an orphan. He grew up on the streets running scams. He eventually joined the Empire. But I didn't like how he only joined the Empire as this opportunistic, I got to get out of this jam I'm in kind of thing. It should have been him joining it because he had no other options. He was living on the streets. He had nothing. And then he does what you do. You join the frickin' military power that at large because he's got nowhere else to turn. Not just,
I think
how am I going to get out of this room? I'll join the army.
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't have a problem with that just because, that seems to be his entire life is getting out of jams.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It just follows for me. It makes sense. It's just another jam he has to get out of. That's like his whole deal.
What else do I got here? Well, I don't know if I should knock off my pros or just get. I mean, I don't know even where to start because there's a lot of things I had problems with, like the Kessel Run just being this big nebula that there's this one tube that gets you through it, and not taking that tube is the Kessel Run.
The Kessel Run is not explained. It's like if you're gonna do that, you got to make it clear what it is. I have no idea what the Kessel Run is.
Well, they say okay.
Is it the run from Kessel to this other planet? Is that it? I
guess, but I mean, they said that the whole plot was they're going to steal the hyperfuel, the unrefined hyperfuel from Kessel, from the mines, and they have to get it to Paul Bettany. Yeah. Stretch marks. They got to get it to old Stretch Marks over there, but he's got shaky relations with Kessel, so we can't let them know that it's us. I said, well, let this ragtag group go in. You won't know anything. We'll steal it. We'll bring it to this processing plant that's way out, that isn't under Imperial control, that isn't being used. So I don't think that that's like a common go-to point from Kessel. They're just saying that to get to Kessel, you can't do a jump straight to it. You have to go through this nebula. You have to go through this winding smoke tube, which I guess doesn't change ever. I guess I don't know how nebulas work. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you got to go through this tube. It's however many parsecs, and that's the shortest way to go. And so we're going to do it in less than that. We're just going to cut straight through the nebula, and the hijinks will happen while we do that. But they keep calling it the Kessel Run, like this is going and stealing this fuel and bringing it to this place is a thing that people do.
Right. It's the Kessel Run that everyone knows about.
From what I understand, this is the first time anyone's done it.
Well, no, Lando says it's impossible to do in under 20 parsecs or something.
Yeah. So is that just getting the fuel from Kessel to just out of the nebula?
And then, okay, so let's say the fuel is real unstable after they mine it, and then they have to take it to another planet to refine it.
Yeah.
The closest one, apparently, is 20 parsecs.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like there's ever any way to make it from one planet to the other without it blowing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not enough time.
They did it in 12, and they barely made it.
So what the fuck? What the fuck is the Kessel Run? I have no idea what it is.
Didn't need to be explained.
No. You get the idea. He says it's a fast ship. It did this thing that apparently everyone's impressed by.
Yeah.
Fine.
I don't know. What else do I have? You go with something while I look at this thing.
All right. Are we gonna get all our dislikes out and then we'll hit it with some likes? Maybe?
I guess my pros are very little, just oh yeah, I like that. So.
Well, I will say that I feel like overall I enjoy the movie actually. On the whole, I have a lot of small problems, but I'm also kind of a sucker for space westerns. and this had a space like train robbery, and that's cool to me. I don't know, like it. I dug it.
Again, I'm going to say it's damn near shot for shot the train sequence from First Avenger.
The
color
visual
palette,
effects are
the
better.
setting, it's exactly the same.
Yeah,
it's a snowy future train that they have to hijack.
I mean, let's just go in on all the things that they answer, quote unquote, answer that no one was asking.
Yeah.
How
did he get that last name?
How did he? Man, how did he get that last name?
He couldn't possibly just have a last name.
That's crazy. Yeah, so stupid. Who gives a fuck where his last name comes from? People have last names.
Yeah.
This struck me. How in The Force Awakens, so the idea that Rey's parents might be somebody was totally made up by fans.
Yeah.
Like, there's no suggestion that they're anybody special in the movie.
That's an assumption. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a total assumption. And then how come nobody made any crazy, wild speculations about who Han's parents are?
Because we all went into it agreeing that he was just a street urchin.
It's just his name.
Yeah. I didn't like how they made him just off the, like, he's a good guy from the start. Like, he's just trying to fight his way through so him and his best girl can go and live a life. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's Han goddamn Solo. He should be a swindler and a womanizer from the get-go. Yes. And he becomes a good guy later. He didn't start off as a good guy, then he pretended to be a swindler for however many years, and he went back to being a good guy. That damages the character.
It does. It does. Because, like, yeah, that's exactly what happens. And I'm curious about the timeline, where this falls in relation to A New Hope. Because at the end of the movie, he's on his way to meet Jabba, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And start whatever relationship they have. It's, what, a few months, maybe that he's working for him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, things happen, and I don't know. I want to know what it is, because if it's... really messes up his
years, you would have to assume.
I hope so.
I mean, Ford was what, in his late 20s, early 30s? Yeah, so it would have to be at least a decade, maybe, of working for Jabba?
Maybe
a little less?
We'll have to figure it out, because, like, he can't just at the end of this movie become a scoundrel and then, like, a couple of months go by and he has to be a hero again. Yeah. I don't know. It's not satisfying.
So yeah, didn't like that. That hurt.
I understand.
I didn't like how they had to personify the Falcon by putting a droid's personality into it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have any problem with the droid character. It was just, I know in the new ones they always talk about, about how much, Lando loves that ship, and about how, you have to talk to the Falcon all the time. I need to plug you in so you can talk to the Falcon. I didn't need to know that there was an actual sentient being in the Falcon.
Right. I mean, because we've seen sci-fi movies before.
Yeah.
Like, ships have computers. Yeah.
I don't need to know that the goldfish are sentient. I didn't even know that the Falcon's sentient.
Yeah, it was weird.
Unnecessary. I thought the inclusion of Darth Maul was completely pointless.
Yeah, very pointless. And in fact, confusing.
Where is he?
Where the fuck is he? What's he been doing?
This is like a few months from A New Hope, and he's like the leader of this major crime syndicate. Where is he?
You can't do that. You can't just do that.
Was there going to be a second Solo movie? taking place in the week before A New Hope picks up?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some. I mean, we know he's in the Clone Wars show.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't have to know that.
When they come and sit down with him in the cantina in Mos Eisley, he's just like, oh man, I just got done fighting this dual saber wielding Sith. Man, what do you want us to do? I mean, there's no that was like contrasting that to the Vader fight. That was the fan servicey part. That was just like, okay, why even do it? I wanted to see Vader fight people. I didn't need to see Darth Maul again, especially for no payoff at all, other than just he's there.
Right. Like, I just don't know what I'm supposed to get out of this.
Yeah. Is there going to be a Darth Maul movie?
Maybe. Maybe. I thought it was weird, too, that he has all this dialogue in his, like, one little part. They, like, go out of their way for him to not talk in The Phantom Menace, and then here he's just, like, dropping lines.
He had one line in The Phantom Menace. Period.
I
don't know. And anyone who hasn't, watched all the other stuff is going to be confused as hell.
Yeah, they're like, who's this spiky-haired motherfucker?
Or if they just, just watched the movie, they're like, how is he alive?
Yeah. You can kind of see his robot legs a little bit, but not really.
Yeah. That was strictly for fans of the Clone Wars series.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not a fan of them intertwining those things in ways that matter.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to call the animated series canon, fine, but yeah, nothing super important needs to be in there.
Or in the comics, or any of that stuff. Like, I keep hearing, so there was the thing about 3PO's red arm in Force Awakens, and he, like, calls it out. He didn't have to say anything about his fucking red arm. Like, we saw his red arm. But he had to say it so that they could sell a comic.
Yeah, to find out why he has a red arm.
To find out. It's bullshit.
How else are you going to find out those little nuggets? Like in the old expanded universe, how would you know that Chewbacca died when a moon landed on him? If you didn't read the comic books.
Gotta read it. So like in Marvel, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the show, was affected by the events of the movies.
Yeah.
But the show never affected the movies.
You want to find out what R2-D2's been doing all these years? Well, you need to go and buy all the corn pops you can, so you can send in those proofs of purchase to get this mini comic from Kellogg's.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, there's going to be some comic that explains how Luke's lightsaber got to Maz's place.
Bleh.
So we're like never going to find out in the movie, even though you can't just be like, yeah, it's another story for another time.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you put it in this movie.
Yeah.
You asked the question here, you should answer it here. That's
regardless of the fact that that lightsaber even exists makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah. It fell through
a gas giant.
It's floating around in space somewhere.
I like the first, I mean, if we're throwing, our just disbelief to the wind, and we're supposed to, I like the leaked like theories that came out before Force Awakens even came out, that the opening shot was just going to be Luke's severed hand holding the lightsaber just floating through space. I thought that was a cool visual.
Yeah.
But instead they just went, yeah, lightsabers around, who knows how. That's a tale to tell another day when you get your free mobile comic from your T-Mobile subscription.
Yeah. When you sign up with a 12-month contract. Eat shit. Buy Disney.
Oh God. The the second sabak hand seemed really shoehorned in there. Like we couldn't have had him just win it the first time. He's got to go back and do it. But we've only got 3 minutes of film left. So let's get it in there. Let's get it taken care of.
There was I think they were playing with your expectations. I think everyone expected him to win it at the first game, and then he didn't. My problem was kind of with you can't trust Han. So when he says something like he won the ship in a fair and square, you know,
you think
in
he
the original
was the one
trilogy,
that cheated?
Yeah, exactly. So
they were both simultaneously cheating.
Yeah, Han had to have been cheating.
Yeah, I would have rather had Han cheat on top of Lando's cheat to win than him steal the card from Lando's sleeve and win it fair and square.
Right.
But again, he's a good guy. He wouldn't cheat at cards.
Which Han Solo do you think we're dealing with here? Is this the Han Solo that shot first, or the Han Solo that didn't shoot first?
Oh, this is definitely shot second Han Solo. Absolutely.
I'm so mad that that's even a thing. How is it canon? How? Oh boy.
No, and it's like they tried to make up for it by having him just shoot Woody Harrelson while he was monologuing.
Right.
But then, if you're gonna do it there, why?
Then you gotta fix A New Hope. And I liked this movie contained, separate from everything else. I think is fine. I really do. The problem is all the other stuff that comes in, all the external stuff that I'm bringing to it.
Yeah.
Because I generally like his arc from being a good guy to being a scoundrel. I like that. That's interesting. But then all the other stuff just like,
this is an already pre-established character that doesn't fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he drank. He did a little bit of that hyperfuel, like a 5-hour energy. Now he can move his head at light speed, dodge a goddamn laser blast point blank. Stupid. Pros. I liked Rio.
Oh yeah, Rio's cool. He's a fun little guy.
He was a fun little kind of person. I like that they gave that Warwick Davis is still part of the movies.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
He's still around. Just checking these off. I like the design of Enfys Nest's whole crew.
Yeah, they were cool.
They were cool. I didn't mind the reveal that they're actually all like she's a child, basically.
Was that what it was? Like that she was a child?
Because didn't she say something about how she took up her mother's mantle? Like her mother used to be like the real Enfys Nest.
Yeah.
And she put on the mask.
Because I'm kind of tired of the trope of like a real badass being revealed to be a lady. Like I should be surprised or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a bad trope. And if she would turned out to just be a kid, that would be fine. But I feel like the way they were, altering her voice and stuff, they were trying to hide that she was a woman also. And I just don't really care for that trope. But if she'd had like a female voice and then took off her helmet and it was like a young girl, that'd be fine.
Yes. And I didn't really have any problems with Donald Glover's portrayal of Lando.
No, I didn't have a problem with what he was doing. I had some problems with like the writing, I guess. Why is just because the motherfucker wears a cape in a movie, he's got to have like a closet full of capes?
Well, him and Vader are the only ones that wear capes.
Vader ain't got a closet full of capes. It's just like a weird. I don't know. I don't know. I guess there's elements that he's so barely, hinted at who he is in the original trilogy. I guess you can really kind of do whatever.
Yeah.
But I sort of feel like they were doing more of like what people think Billy D. Williams is than who Lando is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's just a cool guy.
Just a fucking cool guy with like tons of capes. Fucks robots.
Did you notice in the scene where Tobias is playing the hollow chess with Chewie that he beats Chewie with the exact same move that 3PO beats Chewie with in A New Hope?
No.
Showing that Chewie hasn't learned shit about that game.
That's fun. That's fun.
And they also managed to shoehorn in the awful fighting video game, Masters of Terrascasi.
What?
Yeah. When Daenerys there beats up that robot man on Kessel, and L3 asks you about, she says, well, I've never seen anybody do anything like that before. She says, yeah, that was Terrascasi. And what's Stretch Marks taught her how to do it. Terrascasi is the old Star Wars fighting game for original PlayStation.
That's a really fucking weird pull.
That was some nerd in the writing room insisting they do that.
I mean, it was written by Lawrence Kasdan and his son, so I don't know. That's weird. Did you catch? Was that a crystal skull in
yes.
Stretch Marks' room?
Yes. He had a crystal skull. He had a suit of Mandalorian armor.
Why the crystal skull? Like of all the references, why the worst Indiana Jones?
Because we gotta tie it to Indiana Jones. I don't know. Why? Okay. Why does everybody have lightsaber weapons? Like in the original trilogy, lightsabers were lightsabers and there was nothing else like it. In almost every other Star Wars movie made, somebody has a lightsaber-esque thing.
Yeah, it's like some kind of energy.
It's a quasi lightsaber.
Melee weapon.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good question. I got no answer for you.
That's a little gripe. I don't know.
and like, how do those things, interact with a lightsaber?
It kind of takes the charm away from a lightsaber, that you can just build this stick that has energy on one side of it, and it's basically a lightsaber.
Yeah, you can just block a lightsaber. No problem.
So how important are lightsabers now, Blake? Any bastard can build one.
Essentially. Let me see what else there is here. So one thing I was mad about, but then watching the movie again, I wasn't mad about, but then I kind of got re-mad about it. So on the design of the Falcon, Lando says that he has installed an escape pod in the mandible notch.
Yes.
So I was mad at the change of the design for the Falcon. I'm like, why do they need to explain why there's a notch there? There's already an explanation. It's a freighter thing. It's like they use it to push stuff around or something. And I was like, don't change that. That's stupid. Okay, but if Lando just wanted to customize his ship and he put an escape pod there, and it doesn't really change the original design of the ship, I'm okay with it. But then I thought about, why even do that? Why even mention it? Why do the redesign at all? And it's just to sell toys. It's a new feature for another Millennium Falcon toy.
Yeah. It's where he keeps his capes.
Just why change the design?
I installed a cape room
at all.
The mandible notch.
That's a weird character trait. Gotta have them capes.
I got so many capes, I had to redesign the ship to hold them all.
You know, it really wasn't even that impressive of a cape room, if I'm being real. Like, if they wanted to do the joke,
Yeah, it would be like
blow it out.
this endless hallway of capes.
2 floors. So that was weird. What else? There's just so many things that they answered for no reason. So where he gets his gun from.
Mm-hmm.
A man gives it to him. You know, like I didn't need that. I didn't need that one shot of the gun. Like, be like, see,
the gun was never that important to me.
No. It's just a cool, like, iconic looking, you know, blaster.
Where did he get his shoes from?
Where did Han get those sick boots?
Where did he get those slacks with that yellow racing stripe up the side?
Gots to get me some of those.
Who cares?
Oh, what do you think about Han speaking Wookiee?
I don't really like it.
He never fucking does it again.
He never does it again.
And Han seems to completely understand what he's saying in English. So why was it important that he speak Wookiee?
I always, Wookiee to me was always, it's a language that other life forms can't speak. You cannot speak it. You can understand it, but you can't speak it. You can't replicate the sounds.
Yeah.
Just like how scientists can, like, listen to what whales are saying and try to figure out, you can't do it back. And it's just Wookiees learn basic so that they can communicate. They can understand what they can't speak basic, so they can learn. That didn't need to happen.
No, it really didn't need to happen.
You don't even need to explain it. It's common sense. It's there.
They had an origin. They had a scene where they had to have an origin for Han calling Chewbacca Chewie.
Extremely important.
Yeah, it's like, wow, Chewbacca's too long. I'm gonna have to shorten that. Like a word.
But I am gonna call you Chewbacca several times in the next movies.
What else was there? They had to show Chewie rip a guy's arms off.
Mm-hmm. That happened. The only thing we didn't get an origin of was the dice.
Yeah, he just had those.
He just has them. Way to drop the ball.
What do you think about his like crime boss, like worm lady?
Being a worm? I don't know. Like, I get it. We can do more now. Not every alien has to be a dude in a suit.
Yeah.
But it's getting a little abstract.
It's getting out there. And, like, why would she live in a room that even has windows? Like, they're painted over, I guess, but...
Live further down.
Yeah, don't live by any windows.
Yeah.
If it's gonna kill you. To have light on you.
Why are you living on a planet that has a sun that's gonna kill you? I'm assuming you're not native to Corellia if your species dies from the sun.
Maybe they're supposed to live, like, deep underground or something, but she had to come out and do crimes.
He's the crime worm. It's gotta happen.
You know, I think... Wow. I have no likes. Which is weird, because I have said that I generally like the movie.
You like this movie, yeah. I like this movie, but not for any specific reason.
I just thought it was okay. Like, it was kind of a fun movie, I guess. But I liked seeing Chewbacca just fuck dudes up. Because he was just, like, tossing guys around.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Stretch marks.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Why
glowy stretch marks?
Oh, I don't know. They had to give him something, I guess.
He could just be a human.
He couldn't just be a man. I mean, it was... He must have been some kind of alien, because they, like, glowed red when he got mad.
Yeah. He's like some kind of reptile or tropical bird.
He's a fucking human mood ring.
I don't know. I feel like we're nitpicking now, but god damn it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of problems. But I think structurally,
I'm really surprised.
The movie's okay.
I'm really surprised they didn't shoehorn Boba Fett in here anywhere.
That's true. They didn't mention Bosk, though. They
didn't mention Bosk. I thought for sure there was going to be a Boba Fett something in here, just to give them that relationship.
Yeah.
But they steered clear of that.
Maybe, yeah, somehow they found the restraint within this nightmare of, like, fan service. They found the restraint somehow to leave Boba out.
I guess because he's palling around with Jabba right now.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, this is okay, so we're pretty much wrapped up on Solo, I think. Yeah. But I have a question for you about the use of what's that stuff they freeze Han in? I can't remember. Carbonite. The use of carbonite to just like freeze a bunch of people willy-nilly. Like, I think it happened in the first episode of Mandalorian. He was like delivering a bunch of people. He's just carbonite.
It's like a 3D printer. He's just got like this portable one where they needed a whole room for it on Bespin.
Yeah, and so the way they talked about it on Bespin was that they were just going to see what happened.
Yeah,
like, it's not a thing that they do
to a living thing.
But now they're just like just carbonating everybody like all the time.
Word got out. This shit works.
That bothers me.
Which it very well may have if Jabba had him hung up in his room for who knows how long.
Yeah, maybe. But so they had to miniaturize the technology. And how cheap is carbonite? Because there's a lot of wasted material there. There's there's like a good foot on either side of somebody, like a solid block of carbonite.
Carbonite ain't nothing in these times.
It ain't shit. When it happened when I saw it on The Mandalorian, I had to like pause it and like tell Claire about how that bothered me. She didn't care.
How wasteful.
She didn't give a shit. She was like, I'm just like shaking my head. I'm like, man, that's not what they did to Han was like a one-time thing. It's not a common practice.
There are starving children on Tatooine, and you're wasting all this carbonite.
Wasting this fucking carbonite. Anyway.
We're not going to go into detail on Mandalorian.
No. It just
maybe on part 3. Maybe.
Claire didn't give a shit, so I wanted to talk to somebody that did.
Oh my god. Okay.
Boom, Star Wars.
Knocked them all out. Fantastic. So all in all, how should we feel about the fact that they're blowing up Star Wars so much?
You mean making tons of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they could have slowed it down a little bit. Maybe. You don't have to push them all out. Yeah. I'd prefer if they focused on quality over quantity.
Start Wars the lunchbox. Star Wars the breakfast cereal. Star Wars the flamethrower.
I mean, they know what they're doing. Right. But I'm not mad. I mean, I'm glad I have these to watch. But it seems like they've learned their lesson. They're definitely like slowing it down, right? A bunch of stuff got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll see what happens after this last
which
movie.
They canceled the Boba Fett movie, and probably with good reason, knowing that Mandalorian was right around the corner.
Yeah, it would have.
I'd much rather have
redundant.
this than a Boba Fett movie.
Me too. I know more about Boba Fett than I ever wanted to know.
Yeah. Don't need. I know there were rumblings about a Vader movie. We don't need a Vader movie. We've got 6 goddamn Vader movies.
Seriously. And if you honestly like really want to read or like find out more about Vader's exploits, the comics are actually pretty good.
Yeah. The
Marvel Vader comics are pretty dope. So just read those. Yeah. Don't make another movie. No. The Obi-Wan, is the Obi-Wan thing still happening?
They keep talking about it, and this is another one that I don't get. Fans really, really want a Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan movie. And I could take or leave that.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan just isn't... I'm sorry, I don't care about Obi-Wan. I just don't.
He's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like all the Jedi. They're boring.
The Jedi just got made really lame.
There's like one issue of a comic. I don't even know if it's a full issue. It might be just like a couple page story. That's about Obi-Wan and how he like just watches over Luke and is trying to keep a low profile and can't, use the Force and stuff. And it was like pretty good. And that's really like all I need. I don't need a 2.5 hour like movie where he winds up in some kind of epic.
Yeah, he gets roped into some shenanigans while he's trying to protect baby Luke.
Yeah, essentially, if he ever leaves Tatooine in this movie, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
He can't get caught up in some hijinks. Like, it's got to be small scale.
Maybe we need a Han Solo sequel movie to the Jedi, but prequel to Force Awakens, where we find out how he got that other ship. Fans demand to know.
They have to know.
I think Harrison Ford would rather shoot himself than reprise that role again.
Yeah, he's so dumb. He's so done. I said dumb. Done with the character.
Yeah.
What did he say? There's like a famous interview with him where someone asked him a question. He's like, "Who cares?" Or I don't care.
I'll do this one last goddamn movie.
Yeah.
But if you sons of bitches don't kill this bastard off.
I will say, like, I think Alden, what's his name? The actor's name that played him in Solo. He did a fine job.
Yeah.
It's Alden Ehrenreich or something.
I mean, he didn't decide for him to be a good guy.
No.
From the beginning, so...
I got the feeling of Han Solo from him without him doing, like, an impression.
Yeah.
Which was nice. So, he was fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
You know what I do? You know what? Another thing, okay, and this is a problem, is he spends, like, a big chunk of this movie over 3 years trying to get back to Kira. And then when he leaves her at the end of the movie, that's it. Like, we never hear about her again.
Yeah. Well, she's off doing something vastly unimportant with Darth Maul.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that. He thinks like she's supposed to be following right behind him or something. And I don't know, just forgets about her, I guess.
Old news. He's a scoundrel now, remember?
Yeah, now he's a scoundrel.
He doesn't have those hang-ups anymore.
Nah.
It's almost like he's a completely different character. I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of shit for how much we gave shit in the first episode to the people not liking the movies to how much we're giving the movie shit in this episode.
We are being a bit harsher this time. Because we're not, I don't feel like we're on defense, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I know people really like Rogue One, and that's fine for them. I'm happy they like it. I just have major problems with it.
I don't think you're going to get that other side of the coin, someone who's, you know, viciously passionate about how great Solo was.
No. The most powerful reaction I've seen to it is that, like, it was pretty good, though.
Yeah. I think we're just going to get the shit for, you know, being a touch hypocritical, maybe.
Maybe.
The problem is, I didn't like Solo. And I did like the other movies. So, there you go.
Yeah.
I
shut up, you.
Anticipatory shut up to your shut up.
Yeah. We're the ones who must shut up.
Oh my God. All right. So that's that. As we wrap up this Star Wars special. There will be an episode 3, but it's probably not going to be for a little while.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to us ramble about Star Wars for a few episodes.
Yeah, it's a total of 3.5 hours.
Longer than it has any right to be. If you want to drop us a review on iTunes, we'd very much appreciate that. You can find us online at facebook.com/garbagetheater, on Instagram at garbage_theater. You can email us directly at garbagetheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Throw movie suggestions at us. We can do that. Hell, throw movies you'd like us just to discuss in case we have to fill time ever again. We might do that. Because this was very much just I don't know, want to talk about Star Wars?
Yeah.
So, but I think we got a lot out of it.
I think so.
It's longer than our usual episodes. Yeah.
A reasoned, calm debate. It's not something you get from Star Wars very often.
Yeah, we're doing a service here. So, on that note, we bid you adieu. May the Force be with you, and
also with you.
And more than likely, we'll see you next time when we pick up Shark Month again with Sharkman. That was the movie we watched 3 months ago. That's gonna be a train wreck of an episode.
Ooh.
So, yeah, stay tuned for that one. Should be coming up soonish. 2 weeks at max, maybe. We'll see. This is all really up in the air right now.
Oh, God.
So, yeah. In any case, we'll see you next time with whatever the hell we wind up doing.
Bye.